Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live. Today, we are going to talk, you guys have already been doing many of the right lifestyle things. Maybe you've considered adding a GLP-1. Maybe you just are interested in peptides in general. And you realize, wow, there is so much out there. And then people start talking and you go, blah, 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 what the heck language are you even speaking? So sometimes it's good to hear some of the information multiple times. Sometimes it's good to just hear it for the first time. And then if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I love your questions. That really helps keep the conversation going. And I love that you guys are here. So thank you for joining me today. Sorry for moving it 2 hours. I just recorded, hey, Tracy, I just recorded with Dr. Sabrina Solt, and I accidentally scheduled this at the same time as my interview with her that's been booked for like months. You guys are going to love that one when it comes out in the next week or two. She has been talking about peptides for years. She's been prescribing them and using them with her patients as a holistic doctor for before it was even popular or known about. She's openly been talking about them. No shame, no game. She loves them. On top of that, we talked about stem cells and exosomes and PRP, which is a platelet-rich plasma. So lots of different things we talked about. I'm really excited for that one to come out. But all right, so let's get started. So first I want to tell you this live today is brought to you by Join Mochi. That is my partner with getting my GLP-1. I find them easy to use. They are the most affordable company I can find. There is another company that has pretty comparable prices, but you think you're getting such a great deal and you realize it expires in 3 months. So you can't really stock up with either route very well. But what I like about Mochi is face-to-face appointments with the doctors. They are verifying your identity. They are a legit practice. You are not filling out a form and then getting sent medication from some compounding pharmacy we've never heard of before. Most of the pharmacies that Mochi uses are the largest in the nation, highly vetted. Now they offer more than just GLP-1. You can also get things from hair treatment to skin. They're working their way into bioidentical hormone treatment and so much more. Low-dose naltrexone. So they're really becoming more of a well-rounded health clinic than just a weight loss clinic. So I really like them. If you're interested in working with them, use the link down below or code 6XR0BB and you'll save $40 off your first month, which is another reason I love them. You don't have to be on social media at all, but everybody gets a coupon. So when people start looking at you and noticing you're feeling better, it's not even a weight thing. This is something that came up in our group as a non-scale victory, is that people around noticed that there was pep in the step, that they were feeling better. They were feeling better about themselves. They had reduced inflammation, less pain, better brain cognition just from the GLP-1. And then the weight loss can come as well as another benefit. But when people start seeing your pep in the step and they say, what are you doing? You can give them your code and you guys both save $40. So it's a win-win for everyone. So we've been having so many victories in our private and our free membership at radicallyhealthy.com. I just wanted to share a few of them. And these are not just GLP-1 based. It's from all the other things that we're going to talk about today, other things we can add to our toolbox to help us with our health goals. So obviously we're seeing a lot of body recomp. This week, somebody made a comment and said, everybody in this group is skinny. And it is true. People who've been around for a while, they've gotten to their goal, they've gotten close to their goal, but they're still part of the group because they're working on other things. They're working on lifelong lifestyle things that they can continue doing. And the community is just amazing, So body recomp is, of course, a big one. We see people getting to their goal, where in a lot of other things that we've tried, people can get some weight off, start feeling better, but never seem to get to goal. And in our group, people are getting to their actual goal. And of course, that goal changes over time as you start seeing what your body looks like, because you may have thought of some number, but then when you actually feel your body in different stages, your goal can change. Let's see here. We're seeing a lot of improved energy. A big one that was super funny and shocking in this last meeting was the number of people who said that their libido has improved. And that wasn't just from GLP-1. It was from some of the other things that we talk about in our group. Improved sleep. Someone had their cholesterol down from 490 to 190, still on a carnivore meat-based diet, still doing the same things, but add the GLP-1, get the hormones communicating, and the cholesterol comes down. So GLP-1 is absolutely a whole health peptide for people. The same person actually saw kidney labs improving as well. They had a genetic condition and the kidney labs were getting better. We've seen tremor reduction. I have a family member who has Parkinson's or Parkinsonism and was having difficulty writing at all as a business owner, a very young man, still in the working world. You need to be able to write. And as he dosed up on tirzepatide, he's now able to handwrite. We have another person who had tinnitus resolved so long as they were on some peptides, reducing that inflammation, getting the communication going, pain reduction, gut healing, and so much more. So if you're looking for some of those things, because life and health is about so much more than the number on the scale, join us at Radically Healthy. We have a free community for everybody. And then we have a private community that has 8 calls per week. And it also has a private forum and chat for real-time answers and community. So hope to see you there. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to go, I guess I'm just going to start with energy, because this is something many of us have been struggling with for a long time, whether it's from autoimmunity, whether it is what I'm going to call digestive hormone dysregulation. When our digestive hormones are not regulating and not working well together, we're not getting the energy that we need to function. Another thing could be chronic inflammation, having toxin exposures, environmental exposures, different stressors in our life can kind of tank our energy because it clogs up the hormone communication pathways and makes us more on the insulin resistant side, so we're not getting as much energy into our cells. So we're already doing the things, right? We're working on sleep. We're working on getting sunlight. We're working on blocking the blue light. We're working on all these things, but our energy is struggling. So one of the things we can do is work on our mitochondria. And I have a lot of different ideas for that. Some are oral and some are injectable peptides, but I'm going to start with my new favorite, MOTS-C. Some people will call this, and I've been talking about it, exercise in a bottle, because the way that it works is that it actually gets your body to feel like it signals some of the pathways like you have been exercising. Obviously, we shouldn't skip exercising, but this is a great one for just overall energy or a great one for pre-workout. So you take it in the morning, and then later when you go to work out, you have more energy for that workout. It is a mitochondrial-driven peptide. So it exists in our body and it's derived from the mitochondria. There's another one that kind of does some of the similar things called SS31 that is synthetic. It is not natural, but it also works on the mitochondria in a different way, but we'll get to that in a second. So what it does is turn on the AMPK pathway, and that is the body's energy switch. It boosts glucose uptake into the muscles. It improves fat oxidation. It turns white fat into brown fat, the good fat. It increases mitochondrial biogenesis. It makes cells better at producing energy and enhancing your exercise performance. So one thing it can help with is when we have exercise, what would you call it? I have the word here. When you go to exercise intolerance. I don't know about anybody else, but I know this is a histamine reaction. If I walk for too long, I start getting itchy. If I work out and lift, even if I took it easy, I have a delayed response to that workout. I have a delayed complete soreness of the entire body. So these SS31 and MOTS-C help the mitochondria with that exercise intolerance. So this is more of a signaler. MOTS-C is a signaler. It helps the mitochondria signal better. And it makes you more insulin sensitive. You have to be careful if you're a person taking insulin, because this is making you more insulin sensitive. So if you're already taking insulin, you have to be careful because your dosing could change because you're becoming more sensitive to it, and you could end up with hypoglycemia. So be careful if you're in that subset of people who takes insulin. It improves your cell metabolism. Again, it helps burn fat. It makes you more metabolically flexible to burn fat and glucose. Again, browns the white fat, enhances brain cognition because of the glucose uptake in the body and giving the brain that glucose that it needs to function. So I love MOTS-C. And if you're wondering, well, how much do I take? Where do I get it? So where you get it you kind of have to go to radicallyhealthy.com. The good news is you can just access it in the free community. I work with 3 different companies. They're all American made, no fillers, highly tested. So this is a big deal, especially for the sensitive population out there, but clean, reliable. And of course, if you use my links, all of them, you get a discount. So that's where you get them. I wish that I could just tell you here, but it's not a YouTube friendly channel. And I've been working on this for years, so I'm not going to hurt my channel, but easily accessible. Another thing you could do is email Adrian at radicallyhealthy.com, and I will happily share those links with you in an email as well. Hi, everyone. Hi. Yes, you just started slinking NAD. Those are on my list of things to talk about today. So again, if anybody has any questions, please shoot them out. If it's a specific peptide, if you're looking for a peptide for a certain thing you're working on, let me know. So MOTS-C dosing, it ranges quite a bit on what people say. One thing that I learned is that it degrades very quickly. It is a short chain and it doesn't have, I guess, the way that it's bound together isn't very stable. So you either want to use it all in once, or you want to try to use it within 5 days and keep an eye on the vial for white or anything in the vial, because then it's time to chuck it out. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize most peptides that we work with are so resilient that we don't have to worry about that. And I'll use vials for 3+ months. So I wasn't paying attention, and I noticed after the 5 days that when I injected, it was itchy. And finally one day I looked and I'm like, oh, this is full of white stuff. So the good news is I didn't die or get sick or anything like that. I just got I got a histamine spot. I got a site reaction. But the bad news is it deteriorates quick. So buy the smallest vial you can and inject it as fast as you can. So if you could get a 5 or a 10. So what I do, if I get a 10, what I'm currently doing is taking 2 milligrams per day, using up the vial within 5 days. My cycle for MOTS-C right now is 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. If we're on these lower doses, 1 milligram, 2 milligram, you can do it for 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. If you're doing route number 2, maybe do it for a month. So route number 2 would be take 5 milligrams all in one shot, do it 3 times a week. Because we're dosing so much higher, we can build resilience to it we can build some antibodies to it a little quicker. So we don't want to take higher doses. And some people take 10. So you can take 5 to 10 per day in one shot. Now, even 1 and 2 gave me incredible energy. So I can't even imagine taking 5 or 10. But if you're not a sensitive person, because we're all bio-individual to these peptides, perhaps you need on the higher end. So when you go to buy it, you'll want to look at the fact that this vial is only going to last a week. And plan accordingly. So we don't want to buy 30 milligram vials unless you're going to take 10 milligrams 3 days in a row or something, Okay, so the other one I mentioned was SS31. So this one is more synthetic. It was discovered sometime around, I don't actually remember. I'm going to go with 2015, but I could be wrong on that. But it's synthetic, but it's very supportive to the structure of the mitochondria. And because it's building up and strengthening that structure, it helps our mitochondria function better overall. So MOTS-C is helping the signaling in the mitochondria, and SS31 is helping with the structure of the mitochondria. And I love all this mitochondria stuff because instead of taking a stimulant, we are taking something to actually build our mitochondria up, actually build those energy pathways back up. So this should last much longer and have effects beyond when you're taking it, because we're actually fixing the cellular structure. We're actually fixing the pathways and getting them to communicate better. So SS31, because it helps stabilize the mitochondrial structure in a very healthy manner, it really wards off oxidative stress, and it improves what they say is the ATP output under stress conditions like illness, aging, heavy exercise, etc. It is very protective to the mitochondria. So what this does is it helps protect our muscle. And again, it helps with that exercise intolerance. So with the stronger mitochondria, now we should be seeing a reduction in the exercise intolerance. It also is showing a lot of help with heart issues and cardiac issues. So again, it's just a good healer on top of giving you that energy. How much SS31 do we take? I've seen like a pretty standard one that I've seen was to take 1 milligram a day, but let me pull up my cheat sheet. Some of them, like the back of your hand. Some of them, you just gotta, I look at the sheet every single time, especially as we're cycling through the different things. So where did I get my sheet? If I'm gonna be honest, I got Dr. Rimka's. So you can search Dr. Rimka peptide cheat sheet. Hers costs, I think, $17 or something, but it's really good. And it's totally different. It's a different way to look at peptides and dosing than Hunter Williams. The great part about Hunter Williams is that it comes with the most amazing newsletter. I aspire to have a newsletter as good as his. Every single one comes with great information. I'm so excited to click on it every time. It's not just some sales thing, some email change. It's all about sale. His is like information. And then as you're getting the information, you're like, where do I find out more? He says SS31, we're going to take 500 micrograms in the morning, 5 days on, 2 days off. And we do that 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. So that's a nice small dose to do. So those are my first two with the energy. Some of these others are actually not peptides, but I'm going to tell you guys about them anyway. So one of them is NAD+. This again helps the mitochondria. It helps drive ATP generation, just like we were talking. It supports DNA repair. It's it helps with healthy aging. And as we age, our natural NAD will go down. So this is a good supplement. I think we've talked a little bit about, maybe I did this in my group. There's different ways we can get NAD. I do not suggest getting NAD+ orally. Another way would be to take subcutaneous injections, and another way is intramuscular, which I do the upper center butt cheek. And then finally, you can get IV. Now, the reason I don't get IV is because it's about $1 a milligram, and you could get 750 to 1,000, and you could do that multiple times a week if you wanted to. There is such a thing as too much NAD, so you have to be careful with those intravenous injections because they can make your body go like this, a little, and you can have reactions. So you want to make sure if you're going to do intravenous, it's a great way to get the stores up and get a good level in your body. That's a great way. And then you could follow it up with subcutaneous or intramuscular shots. But just make sure that they do it real slow, like 2 to 4 hours, depending on how much they're putting in, really, really, really slow. So when I started NAD+, I did have some face flushing and I didn't feel super great. So I backed down. So you start real low, like let's say 20, and you can move up to 50. And then slowly, some people are taking as much as 200 a day, but that's not something you want to start out with. It's only something you'd move up to. I've never done more than 100, and it's more of a price thing than anything else because NAD+ is quite spendy. Where do I get my NAD? I get it from Emily at Elevate Health and Hormones. It's the same price as if you get it at Lavender Sky or anywhere else. So it's $250 for, I think, 1,000 milligrams. I think it's milligrams, micrograms. I think it's 1,000. Anyway, so if you're interested in starting some NAD, you can email info@Elevate Health and Hormones. That information's also down below to get started on NAD. And hand in hand with that, same place, same type of thing. I get my glutathione through her as well. Glutathione is an amazing antioxidant in our body. And this really helps shield the mitochondria from the damage. It helps with mitochondrial integrity, and it supports a consistent ATP production to really build up that energy. Why I'm taking glutathione is because it really is a good liver support and helps with detoxification, but in a very gentle way. I've never had a Herx reaction or anything like that. I guess I've got it intravenously before and I got a Herx reaction, but I think we must have put too much in and it was too fast. But taking it this isn't intramuscular. Taking it intramuscularly, I've had absolutely no side effects whatsoever. The dosing on that one will come with your prescription or your vial. I don't know if it's a prescription. Is it a prescription? Might be. Okay. And the last one for energy that I love to talk about is methylene blue. And if you haven't seen it, I know it's not a hit. Nobody's really watched it, but my interview with Dr. Scott, I thought it was so good. He's such an intelligent guy. And the interview was about so much more than methylene blue. It was about healing, calming the nervous system, getting into parasympathetic mode and how we do that. But methylene blue is wonderful because it helps with the electron transport chains, which can often get damaged in the mitochondria. And so it bypasses any mitochondrial damaged blockages and gets that ATP moving more efficiently. It reduces oxidative stress, and it's very protective of the mitochondria. It's very useful for people with chronic fatigue syndrome and age-related energy decline. I'm loving methylene blue because it really does give your brain a boost. It does seem to improve your energy. And what I like about it is it's not something, like caffeine and nicotine, we could take that forever and ever and ever, right? But this is more of something, if you were to start with 4 milligrams, if you need to work your way up to 16 milligrams, and you take it for 4 to 6 weeks, and then your mitochondria is completely swapped out and you have more healed, productive mitochondria. So now going forward from there, you really just reduce and spot check. Like, it's a great thing to take if you're going in an airplane, because when you improve those mitochondrial pathways, you're not as affected so much as the pressurization in the plane and the reduced oxygen. So you're still getting the oxygen to your cells despite being in a situation where there's less oxygen. Kind of interesting. I think the company's based out of Colorado, and they're at a high altitude. But anyway, I love methylene blue. Where do I get it from? I get not Amazon. Please don't get it from Amazon. I don't want to get myself in trouble here. We didn't do anything shady, but we used to be Amazon merchants. Okay. And we used to sell random stuff on Amazon. And I'm going to tell you, we kept it in clean, airtight, safe containers and all that. But they didn't come check on us. For all they know, I had some moldy storage bin in the backyard that I was pulling it from. Like, they literally never checked on it. So I'm really eerie about buying supplements or anything we're consuming from Amazon. I think if we're getting it directly from Standard Process on Amazon, that's cool. If we're getting it from bio-optimizers on Amazon, that's fine. But if it's random Gled Hill merchant enterprises, I'd be cautious. So anyway, methylene blue, it's important your source, because methylene blue is used for everything from dyeing jeans to cleaning fish tanks. There's a huge variety of what is safe and effective in actually consuming it and improving our mitochondria. A lot of the stuff that's been tested that's allegedly pharmaceutical grade that you can buy over the counter on Amazon has tested high for heavy metals. And we don't want to be polluting our body when we're trying to improve our body. So I get it from Troscriptions. The company is run by doctors, and they actually have prescription grade. It's not prescription. You have to get it through a practitioner because it's higher dose. And then they have consumer availability. So that's what I'm buying. I'm working on Emily to become a practitioner through them, because I tried their Somna, and it's for sleep. It was the best night of sleep that I've gotten in years based on the data from my watch. Like, I legitimately had restful, peaceful sleep. So I really want to try that again. I've tried the Troche, which is the consumer grade that we can buy, and that's great too. But the warning there is you only let it soak into your cheek for a couple minutes, and then you got to swallow it. Otherwise, one of the ingredients that helps you sleep is actually kind of spicy, and it doesn't, don't like it. So let it soak into your cheek for 5 minutes so it can help get you into the sleep, and then swallow it so you don't get the spicy effect unless you like that flavor. Let's see here. With the methylene blue, you don't want liquid. Every liquid that they've tested, it's been less potent than what they claimed it was. And I think part of that might be, they explained in a recent video, there's a Troscriptions YouTube, that when it's in liquid, it degrades very quickly. So you're getting a degraded, less potent product, and it's very difficult to dose it the way that they, in a liquid form. So with Troscriptions, it comes a little troche, and you can break it into 4, and it's precise. The dosing in each one is precise. Now, I'm almost out. That's my 1/4 that I have left. This is the blue canteen. So if you're really looking, we didn't get into brain, we're in energy right now. The canteen really helps with the brain because it also has low doses of hemp extract and very, very low dose nicotine, very low dose, 1 milligram, which if you're breaking this into 4, you're having 1/4 of a milligram of nicotine. I believe cigarettes have between 12 and 20. Vaping, I think, is like 1 million. So very low dose nicotine, a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of hemp extract. So you got multiple nootropics in this one. I took it before this live. Can you tell? So I really like, if you're interested in trying any of the Troscriptions, there's a link down below. Okay, so that's my energy that I've been using to improve my energy. My background is having chronic fatigue syndrome. Every time I have my labs run, the doctors say, how are you even walking? How are you alive right now? You're going to end up in a nursing home. You have to reduce your stress. You have to improve your hormones. We really got to work on this. But when I talk to my autoimmune doctor specifically, he says sometimes the energy is one of the last things to improve, including quality sleep is also one of the last things to improve as we are healing. So still working on that. All right, so my next one goes hand in hand with energy, and that is brain power. I want to look and see if we got anything here. Oh, and you started Retta. Awesome. I think that's on my list here because one of my lists here is, are you on a stall? And so I have a list for, have you stalled out? What can we do? And I love this because I've been speaking to people locally and they will say, I'm on the top dosage for Peptide. I'm installed for 6 months. And I'm like, I got stuff for that. I got ideas. I got things we can do. And they're like, really? I thought this was the end. No, that's not the end. This is just the beginning, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that something I can turn on, I wonder? Let me look. I think it's something, can you turn it on your end? I see light mode, dark mode, hotkeys, layouts, guess. I'm not seeing a button for that on my end. Edit layout, style, recording. I feel like in YouTube, you should be able to turn that on, I think. Can you turn that on YouTube on your end? Oh, I wish you could listen to, because I got lots of information for you guys. Okay, so the next one that is pretty common for people to struggle with, and this is preceding coming in on a GLP-1. Before GLP-1, this is already an issue, is the brain fog. And what's going on there? Are we working on the root of why we have brain fog? So some reasons we might have brain fog. I had a pretty serious head injury, but at this point, it was like 9 years ago, but I still feel, I don't know. I've never really been the same since. Like I was curling. You guys know what that is? It's on the ice. You got the pucks and you slide them down the ice. I was curling and there's a foot that's really slippery and I slipped and I landed on my head on the ice and my body left and then came back. And I didn't go to the doctor for like 4 weeks. I don't know that they could have done anything because really you just need to rest, right? But so I had a pretty significant concussion. Another thing that can contribute to brain issues would be chronic inflammation, autoimmunity stuff. And some of that can be coming from our gut. So are we working on our gut health? Another brain fog could be the exposures. When we were in the townhome we were renting this last time, you couldn't see mold. You couldn't smell mold. It's one of the newest townhomes in town. But when we did an ERMI test, which is a Swiffer test through Envirobiomics, it came up really high in toxic mold. And I could feel it. I was so brain foggy in that townhome. And again, you couldn't see it anywhere. I mean, we looked around. I could not find any mold. And we moved into that place with nothing from our previous homes. I mean, we didn't have a couch for 9 months, which was so embarrassing because people would come over and I had lawn chairs in the living room, but I refused to buy a couch because what if this place was contaminated? Then we're going to contaminate a couch. We did end up buying a couch and we brought it to this house, but it's made out of leather. So we wiped it down, but according to the protocol, that's not good enough, but I digress. Anyway, so if your home is moldy, that can contribute to brain fog. So what can we do about that? We can remediate. We got to remove moldy material. And then the area around it, we can treat with peroxide based products, not bleach. What else? Hormones. Is your thyroid and your hormones optimized? because that low testosterone can really contribute to the brain. Low progesterone, low thyroid, all of those things can affect the brain. So we're working on those things, but we still have some time that we just need to heal, or maybe some damage has just been done. And so what can we do? I forgot one on here. I should have put VIP. Mark that one down, okay? It's not on my list, but VIP, it can be a nose spray, and that can help boost your brain back up. It's not on the list because it's not what I'm using at this moment. But the first thing I'm going to start with is BioMind. And I usually have that bottle right here, but I don't. BioMind, I get it from one of my sources, BioLongevity Labs. And they have a sale right now. If you use code BLAdrian, you save 15% on top of the site has 20% off for BioMind. This isn't on my list, but BioGut Restore. Those are both oral as well as retatrutide. So they're having a pretty big sale right now. But why do I like BioMind? So it's an oral, and I like oral because as much as I love shots, now that I know they're effective, we get shot fatigue, right? And so sometimes it's nice to take something orally. It's not addictive. BioMind, I also don't find methylene blue addictive, and I don't find some of these other things addictive at all. But if you look at the bottle, you go, ooh, that's kind of spendy. But the truth is that you take between 2 and 6 capsules, and you don't have to take it every week. So I find if I have like a tough week every month, and on that week, I take 4 capsules. And on other weeks, I'll take 2 or 0. I've never taken 6. So if you look at how many caps you're actually taking per week, and you look that the bottle has 60, it lasts a long time. So BioMind is a nootropic blend, and it really helps with oxidative stress and inflammatory damage. It has a very natural feel. It feels like, it doesn't, like the other one I'm going to talk about is Tesofensine. When you take Tesofensine, you know it. You know it. BioMind is much more natural. It's like, it just brings you back to what you feel your brain should be like when it's struggling. So you have better recollection of words. You have better memory. If somebody says 4357, you can repeat 4357 to them, when in brain foggy days, you would go for what? So it just really restores in a very natural way. So that's something you could try, and it's oral, BioMind. The next one, since I already said it, I'm going to talk about Tesofensine. And I had this in my stories, and I want to talk more about this. So if you search Tesofensine, it is going to claim to be some kind of weight loss something or something. Not for this girl, okay? No. I think you have to take like 1,000 milligrams to get some kind of appetite suppression. But when I'm talking weight loss with people, we want so much more than appetite suppression. We want our digestive hormones to speak properly so that we actually get energy and aren't having insulin resistance-like issues. So we're not doing nothing but storing fat and not getting any energy. So where was I going with that? So Tesofensine. You'll know when I started Tesofensine, when I got about 3 days in, because I was like, guess what, guys? I've taken GLP-1. And then I went live and I started talking about it. I started calling people, and I had no idea why I felt so inspired. I thought it was just God. Still, definitely partly God. For sure, it's God. But I think it was that when you take Tesofensine, I know where I was going with that, the weight loss. 1,000 milligrams can cause some appetite suppression, but appetite suppression, that's almost like taking gastric bypass and making you eat less. Ultimately, eating less is not the ticket. It might be a good temporary weight loss solution, but it's not a long-term thing. Long-term, we want those hormones regulated. So on lower doses of Tesofensine, it boosts up your brain. It amplifies all 3 pathways, dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. And it helps increase neurotransmitter availability. This elevates mood, focus is a big one, motivation, being able to process things, the speed of the ability to do that. It's just absolutely, I think it's amazing for the brain. It is not the same as an SSRI, not the same at all. It's more activating those pathways. And I can't really tell you what an SSRI exactly does. Does it supplements serotonin, or I don't know. I'd have to go look it up, but totally different than an SSRI. So what is the dosing? This is really important, because if you take too much, you'll know, because you'll want to write a novel at 10 o'clock at night. That affects your sleep. So it's not an anxiousness thing as much as your brain is just so awake. that you just want to keep going. And you're like, is it really 10 o'clock at night already? Dang it. I was ready to write my second novel. I was ready to record 4 YouTube videos and write a newsletter, So it can affect your sleep. And another thing when you're dosed too high is that you could get some anxiety. And I remember getting some anxiety and going, weird. Where did that come from? Every time I feel anxiousness, I don't actually get upset about it anymore because it's so rare that I know something's wrong. I ate something, I took something, something's off that needs tweaking. So I don't feel scared of anxiety anymore because I know that it is something that I can fix. So how do we know when we get too high? So what I started out, the company that I bought it from the first time, the only thing they offered was 500 micrograms. And that for me, and I didn't realize too, it has a 10-day half-life. So I was taking it every single day. So stacking up in the system pretty big, right? So now what I suggest is that you buy it from a company that rhymes with Chemitless. I'm so funny. Because they offer 250 and 500s. And I suggest that people buy the 250s because they come in capsules. And yes, you can break it in half and you can try to weigh out like what is half of this, but it gets messy. And you might be one of the people who really likes 125. I don't know of a place really that does the 125, so you'd have to take the 250s and blah, blah, blah. What I suggest that what I do for me, and you'd have to play around what works for you, is if I haven't taken it in a month or two, very not addicting, no withdrawal, okay? I haven't taken it in a month or two, totally forgot about it, and I have some big things coming up. I'm going to speak at something, okay? I'm going to take 500 micrograms 2 or 3 days in a row. Then I'm going to take a break because now I built it up in my system and I'm good, and it has a 10-day half-life. So I've got a lot in my system for a while. Then I spot check with 250s, once a week. Twice, whenever I think of it, I'll just take it up. Again, non-addictive, no withdrawal. So again, not something you have to take every day. If you were going to take it every day, I would probably go down towards the 125. Hunter Williams has a great video on Tesofensine. I really like his. Dr. Rimka's really scares you because I think she was taking 500 or 1,000 every single day for many days in a row, and she got the anxiety. And she explains that situation that she had. And so it definitely can happen. Be careful. I'm never going to pretend like everything is perfect. If there's something off that I want to warn you, I'm definitely going to warn you. And the next one would be nicotine. So we talked about how nicotine is so addictive, and I actually do think that it is. I think the people out there saying that it's not addictive, I don't know what they're talking about. So nicotine, what can we do? It can really boost the brain. It's amazing. It can just zap brain fog, I feel like, in just minutes, okay? So what do we do, though, because it can be addicting? Well, I suggest, I always have it right here, Knick-Knack. I buy the 3 milligrams, and I break this into 3 to 6 pieces. If I feel anything at all, because you don't have to feel anything to get the brain benefits, you just pull it out and throw it away. So I have like a little pile of little white nuggets right here, because the second you feel anything, take it out. Or if you just feel like, oh, the brain's there, you can take it out right then too. You don't have to wait to feel anything. So I found, though, 1 week I did an experiment and I put the whole 3 milligram in my mouth. And I did that every day for 5 days. And I found myself dopamine seeking. I wasn't specifically like, ooh, where's my nicotine fix? But I was like, I kind of want to hit from something. This is a weird feeling. Especially after going carnivore, you kind of get away from that dopamine seeking feeling, right? Especially on a GLP-1, it really becomes much more calm, the dopamine seeking. So I realized something was wrong. It was too much for me. You just have to find what's right for you. When we look at Troscriptions, it has 1 milligram in one, and you're breaking into 4. These are 3 milligrams. I know some people who take 6 to 12, and they say that it's not addictive to them. Sorry. Coco Loco. I love it. And I got my new cup. Don't you love glass and metal? Anyway, okay, so I love Tesofensine. I think it's a great mind booster, but be careful with it. I love nicotine. It's a great brain booster, but be careful, And one thing that's good about nicotine is if you're not a smoker and you put something in, when it's too much, your body tells you, and you're not going to feel super great for a couple minutes. For a couple minutes, you are going to feel lightheaded, I don't know, nauseous. I don't remember what the feeling is because I never let myself get there anymore. But that's the good news, is that your body tells you when it's too much, take less than that. And it's not something you have to take every day. The only reason I ever even remember it is because I said it here for my interviews. So I remember, oh, I got an interview coming. Do I need it or not? Often it's not. But sometimes it is. So I buy the 5-pack, and this literally lasts me a year and a half. So I would say then that at the dose that I have found for me that works, it is not addictive. Okay, so I'm going to go back into some peptides. Ooh, I did have VIP on my list. Okay, the next one is Slank. And I feel like I'm always saying it wrong, but it's a synthetic peptide that has very significant nootropic effects. It modulates the GABA and serotonin systems, which reduces anxiety. It also can improve memory, learning, and mental clarity without the sedative feel. So it's often used for stress resilience and focus under pressure. So you have something coming up, you've got to go hang out with your ex-husband. I'm just kidding. You've got to go to a family event with the 4 family members that drink too much and it's kind of stressful. Take a little Slank. I've heard, my understanding is that this can be very effective nasally, Slank and C-Max. And I kind of like nasal. I do a nasal one, which isn't on my, yes, Kim has been using Slank and C-Max in our group and telling us all about how wonderful it is. And it's on my list to buy. Okay. So speaking of buying, if you're into like the cheaper coming from India and China, there's a company that we sometimes talk about in our group. And I don't know if you guys have seen the emails, but they sent out a list yesterday and said 25%, 20 or 25% off this huge list because we are discontinuing all of these peptides. And I was thinking, how are you even going to be a company anymore? Because the list, and so the sale is still going on if you guys use that company. Be careful though, because it does have fillers. It comes from India and China, but it's highly tested. But on the list was semaglutide, retatrutide, ipamorelin, CJC, AOD96, like all the good ones. And I'm thinking, what is your company even going to sell anymore? Anyway, turns out that they got a letter from the FDA telling them that they had to turn those off. And when they went to have their attorney speak to the FDA, it turned out to be a fake letter. So they had this huge blowout sale saying, we're going to discontinue all these good peptides. And it was based on a fake letter. Oh my gosh. So anyway, you guys know what company I'm talking about and you're okay with their ingredients and their formulations, 20% off sale, I think for the rest of the week, maybe. Okay, so the next one is C-Max, and this is derived from the ACTH fragments that boost brain-derived nootropic factor, so BDNF. It supports neuroplasticity and neuron survival. It enhances memory, attention, mental stamina, and can aid in recovery from the brain injuries and mental fatigue. So I haven't started these 2 yet, but they are on my list to get in my fridge ASAP because that sounds great to work on that injury. As far as dosing, I would check your dosing guide because I've heard some people can be really sensitive to these, and so you don't need the full dose that it says here. And that's kind of with everything, right, guys? Start low, go slow. Oh, that's kind of crazy. I don't see that on this list here. It's got to be on the list. Oh, there it is. C-Max, it's suggested to do 1 milligram, 2 to 3 days a week. Do it 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. And Slank, they're saying 1 milligram, 2 to 3 days a week. I know sometimes you can get these combined, but from what I've heard, one is very calming and the other one can be very focus-based. But interesting that you can get them combined. So those are my favorite ones for your brain. Let's get that, we're working on the root of why, but then sometimes there's healing that needs to be done. And so our brain could use a boost. It could use some peptides to really get the brain activated and working good again. I did put in here the VIP vasointestinal peptide. It is very anti-inflammatory, has neuroprotective effects, improves the blood flow to the brain, modulates immune responses in the brain, supports the circadian rhythm balance. This one, the reason I know about VIP is because when you do the shoemaker protocol, if you have SIRS, this is the last step, is to take the nasal spray of the VIP peptide. and it can literally regenerate parts of the brain. So that's really exciting. This is why I love peptides. I'm a peptide nerd. I've heard people say, I don't want to get addicted to peptides. And I'm like, lean in. You'll never feel better in your life. Right, guys? Oh, Kelly loves Slank and C-Max. She takes it subcutaneously. Couldn't tolerate the nasal spray. Let's see here. Purchased several vials from them both. Awesome. Okay, so I have a few more minutes here. Again, if you guys have any questions, please put them down. You guys are so wonderful. Thank you guys for being here. Kim has seriously never felt better. So I love it. I love it. I know one thing that Kim had shared, I hope this is okay to share in the group. She's currently doing a lot of long distance running, and then your legs can feel sore, fatigued, run down, right? So she's been using BPC-157 and TB-500 on the legs to help reduce the inflammation and encourage the legs to heal quicker. And she was seeing great benefits of that. So this was one of my categories here, was healing and inflammation. I love BPC-157 and TB-500. In my interview with Dr. Solt, she said that oral was very good. In my research, oral BPC is really good for gut healing, not as much for the rest, but that's conflicting information out there. Some people claim that even oral BPC, that they saw the benefits of anti-inflammation and reduction in pain from arthritis and so forth. So just throwing that out there. But I love injectable BPC-157 and TB-500. I take them together. Well, I take them separately, but you can take them at the same time and they work really well together. BPC is derived from gastric fluid, and TB-500 is a naturally occurring peptide. And I think it's derived from proteins, but I guess I didn't put that in my notes. Anyways, they are both anti-inflammatory and healing. So if you have an injury, you could put it, like, let's say I injured my elbow, you can squeeze the skin and put it as close to the injury as possible to help regenerate and heal that area. I personally put it in my stomach because I'm looking for gut healing, and it really has healed. Yes, she's been injecting her legs. It's been the best advice ever. Yay! I love those two. I feel like they're very tolerable to almost everybody. There's very little side effect. The only side effect I'm thinking, we're not 100% sure, we're still problem solving, is that someone did it longer than the 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. Let's say they did it 16 weeks and they started having allergic reactions. And we're still looking into that. But it is true that you can build up an intolerance to peptides if you do them too long, including BPC. So we do want to cycle as much as we can. So I'm taking BPC TB-500. I'm going to cycle off with KPV GHKCU. KPV is a fragment of the alpha MSH. It's very anti-inflammatory and has antimicrobial properties. It helps calm over activation of the gut and skin and tissues. Very useful for IBD, dermatitis, and systematic inflammation. Inflammation, not inflation. GHKCU stimulates collagen production. It's great for wound healing, tissue remodeling. It's very strong antioxidant. It's very anti-inflammatory. It protects tissue from oxidative damage, promotes regeneration of the skin, nerves, and blood vessels. So GHKCU is considered very, very anti-aging, regenerative. So I like to do BPC-157, TB-500, and then cycle off and do KPV, GHKCU. So we're not taking them all at the same time, which I recently made the mistake of, and now I have nothing to cycle off on. So those are healing and inflammation, and those ones are truly baseline. Everybody tries those. They use them. They love them. I got a comment that my entire day is centered around weight and peptides. And when will all of this be maintenance and not your entire life? Probably never, because I would like to share how great it has been in hopes that other people can lose their weight, get healing. And when I talked to Dr. Sabrina, she had, there was a period of time where she struggled with a little bit of extra weight. Weight hasn't really been her struggle, but just overall health. These are great hacks for getting our body to do what it needs to do. as much as losing weight has been really important to me, it really wasn't the weight loss. It was stopping the weight gain. It made no sense that if I ate anything but meat, and including meat, actually, I was chronically gaining weight. I knew something was off in the digestive system, in the pathways. There had to have been something off, because it doesn't make any sense that my husband can eat bowls of noodles and wash it down with bottles of pop and not gain a pound. And I just look at him and I start gaining inflammation just watching him eating it. And it's not a joke. It was serious. The digestive hormone regulation in my body has been off my entire life. And that stems into disease, that stems into brain damage, it stems into nerve damage, it stems into autoimmune conditions, low thyroid function, then the things we were being told our whole life to do, the diets, the exercising, that all actually compounded because I've been doing it my whole life because that's what I was told I had to do. It was a stressor on my body. So everything that I share now is, let's reduce the stress on our body. Let's help our body function better. Let's do lifestyle things. There's other tools now we can use, like peptides, like stem cells, like, even blue blockers. We have so many different things we can do these days to just continually improve our health. The reason I was bringing up Dr. Sabrina was because despite her not having weight issues, she still's on a peptide stack all the time, improving her health, her energy, her mitochondria, her body. And I think a lot of biohackers do continually improve. I don't know of course, we should all be grateful for where we're at today. I am in such a better place than I was at 330 pounds. I'm in a better place than I was at 184. I'm in such a better place, but I still have energy and cognition and sleep that need to be improved so I can function the best that I can every single day as a mom, as a friend, as a wife, as a sister. So I will be talking about this for a long time, but if you don't like it, no big deal. So for me, this is just my passion, is to share these tools and that hope that other people can feel better like I do. Okay, so breaking a stall. This is my last one. Then I got to go pick up the kiddos. Breaking a stall. The things we use mostly are, first of all, let's go back to the baseline. Are we tracking? Are we sure we're hitting a calorie deficit? If we were in a calorie deficit for too long, unfortunately, I hate this. It makes me want to vomit to even say this out loud. Sometimes we need to take a break from dieting, which may cause some weight gain, and boost that metabolism back up. Ensure we have no nutrient deficiencies, that we're fully nourished and our body's absorbing it and getting what it needs, and then go back at the calorie deficit again. We want to make sure we're getting in our protein and our water and our minerals, baseline things. Are we exercising? Are we getting sunlight? Are we getting sleep? Have we had our thyroid and hormones checked by someone good? That would probably not be the person at your local doctor's office, because they will do the standard of care, which is not to run your T3 free, your T3 reverse, and really look at your hormone symptoms and numbers. So are we working with someone good to ensure that we're not deficient in hormones and thyroid? So we've done all that. Now what else can we do? We could add a splash of retatrutide. And this isn't something, none of what I say is medical advice ever. This is just me sharing my experience. Then when I added just a low dose of retatrutide, the needle moved, and it moved very slowly. If I wanted it to move quickly, I could have tracked, I could have done more of a deficit, I could have added some fasting in, I could have upped my exercise, but I was just maintaining life now. I've gotten pretty low. This is the lowest I've ever been, and I just kind of wanted to live and see what would happen. I just sprinkled a little retatrutide on top, and 10 pounds came off over 4 months. Now, was it 1 pound a week? No, it was like up 4, down 2, up 1, down 2, and then, but if you look at the 4 months overall, I came down 10 pounds, and 10 pounds feels really slow. So when people are saying, I'm stalled, have you been using something like Happy Scale? It's an app that can help you look at like the trend versus the daily ups and downs. It gives you a real good look. So are you really stalled? And if you are, maybe you could try a little retatrutide. Another thing you could try is little cagrilinotide. Cagrilinotide is another pathway to the brain. So we're opening up more pathways, and it really, really helps you with appetite control. It really helps you be in the driver's seat, and so that you are fully in charge of what you eat. On tirzepatide alone, I had to be very strict. If I added things, it would cause a lot of food noise. Like tirzepatide didn't help me a ton with food noise. I don't know if it's because I didn't follow the standard dosing, or I'm not metabolizing it well, or it just wasn't. I think some of us who are struggling with weight and digestive regulation, it can be more than one pathway. So when we add cagrilintide, again, just a tiny dose, it can really give you full control. So for example, I could eat a cup of blueberries and be fine, where a cup of blueberries on tirzepatide alone, I was thinking, should I get more blueberries? Maybe I need some more blueberries. I really like blueberries. And so for the rest of the day, I'd think, I really want more blueberries. But on cagrilintide, it was like, oh, those blueberries were great. What are you guys up to today? And you just move on with life. So I really love cagrilintide. So those are my two things that are really big for helping you break a stall. I know some people will add them on early on. That's totally fine. Retatrutide is great for helping you with fatty liver. It's amazing for helping with visceral fat, and it's muscle preserving. So there's so many health benefits. I feel like it's very healing to the gut, the way that it's now helping modulate 3 digestive hormones and getting those pathways open. So really good for the gut. But I'm glad that I saved it until the end so that it could give me something new to push me past and get me to my goal. So it got me to my goal. And cagrilintide, I think that's good anytime really, because it really gives you full control. And to me, I guess I'm on a low enough dose where it doesn't seem to control the amount that I eat. It just gives me full control of eating when I want to eat and not having food noise and having a little bit more variability in what I get to eat. And so that's really nice. Okay, so that was my list of additional peptides that may change your life for energy, breaking a stall, brain power, healing and inflammation. There's so much out there, you guys. It's such an awesome world that we live in, that we have all these tools that are so unbelievably effective. Gone are the days of eating cinnamon, hoping that it'll somehow translate into my body functioning better. I don't know if you guys ever did the cinnamon, or, so many of the things that we've tried, the healing protocols of trying to get the parasites out, get the heavy metals out, the gut healing protocols. And it didn't seem to equate into long-term success for many things. And these days, we have things that really equate to truly remarkable difference. So anyway, if you guys have anything else, please send me an email, adrian@radicallyhealthy.com. I'd love to help you. Ooh, I wanted to add in there too. If you guys love community, you should join us at Hack Your Health. And if you go to hackyourhealth.com and use code BLCarnivore, you save $100 on your conference ticket. But step up your game and join us at our Airbnb. We can have up to 16 people in our Airbnb. It has 2 kitchens, 2 living room areas, so it's plenty of space for all of us. I've rented a van to do some airport runs, bring us to the dinners, bring us to the conference. Included in your stay with us is 2 dinners that cost $300. The Dr. Lisa Wiedemann dinner, where we get to sit with all the speakers, and then the Healing Humanity dinner, which is going to be a hit. It's going to be packed. I know it is. Every year, Healing Humanity is packed. So it's a great community event. If you're looking for more information on that, go to radicallyhealthy.com. You'll see it right on the homepage to find out more information. We'd love to have you there. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Yay, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to be there. Hands, yellow, heart, red. I don't get it. But I'm excited for you to be there. So if you guys like this, please like, subscribe, and share. And I hope you guys have a great day. Goodbye.